Today, let's go tour my new garden and pick a few plants so we can get a few leaves and flowers drying. I like to pick my leaves and flowers early in the morning and put them into a composition notebook to dry, with a few heavy books to get them to lie flat. I raise my flowers in pots that are lined around my back deck. It makes me feel like I'm in a secret garden when I sit and have a cup of tea on my back deck. Bleeding heart, heuchera, a gorgeous coleus, and this year I purchased a new plant that looks like a yellow golf ball. I can't wait till it is in peak perfection and in full color. Pups are playing in the background as I find plants to dry. Hostas, peonies that didn't bloom this year with the move, so I need to repot and divide, and hopefully they will bloom next year. We've got tomatoes, peppers, and everything for a great salsa this summer. Hi everyone, Patty here. Let's look at some of my favorite books to use for collaging in my journals. This is a book on poems. The poems are down the center of the page, and sometimes that doesn't fit my page that I might be working on. This is a book on insects, and it has some great drawings and text that tells you all about all sorts of bugs. This is a book on garden designs, and it is a lovely, what did they used to call them, coffee table books with great pictures and garden designs? I don't have a coffee table anymore, and the designs are elaborate and not something that I could afford in my yard, but beautiful to add to my journals. The pages are big enough to make double-sided journal pages with a pocket. But this may be my go-to book, which is a textbook on physics. The pages have handwritten notes, graphs, and diagrams that add great interest to my pages. The pages fit nicely on a page without too much to trim. I do like to trim off any excess with the tear ruler. The leftover strips work great for adding stamps to, and you get that nice patina onto your page that matches your design. I need 6 pages of this book, and I will rip them to fit my journal pages. Ink the edges and glue them to the blank areas of my planner. I will do this to all 6 pages and come back. I will use vintage photo to ink the edges. Pick the side to have up with the most calculations and pencil marks from the student who used this book back in the 60s. This book is outdated and not being used anymore for students in physics. One of the pages I ripped, so I want to fix it with some of the faux old tape. I make a sheet of faux vintage tape, and then they are ready to use when needed. Have you ever made this type of tape? All you need to do is put tape strips onto a slippery surface, like a piece of the backing from sticker paper. Add alcohol inks to the tape and let dry. It adds great interest to our pages and adds a vintage look to the page. Fold the pages we created in January with our homemade stamp of the weeklies and monthly calendar. Add the nomenclature for the month and the days of the week at the top of the monthly. Don't forget to ink the edges. I just add the dates to the monthly by using a pin in the upper right corner of each day. I like to have enough room left in the box to add the weather for each day. The weeklies, I add the day up in the right-hand corner, leaving plenty of space to fill in daily tasks. Plants are dry in the composition books after a few days, and I look through all of the different pieces and decide what I want to use. Hydrangea flower, I'll pick several of these and layer them like they grow in a clump, a few small ones and a couple large ones. They dried in a variation of colors, so that looks great, even a leaf that will add to the cluster. Here's a bleeding heart leaf. I was too late for the flowers. Should have done this project last month, as they are one of the first things to bloom in my garden. A fern frond, I put the wrong nomenclature on this flower when I was doing the video, but went back and corrected it when I went to my mom's and looked at the plant again, because I cut this plant from her garden. Dusty Miller has such great color and white woolly foliage that adds great interest to the page. A tiny daisy that is a vibrant magenta color with a yellow center. You can arrange them any way you like on your book page. Just think about spacing them far enough apart that you will be able to add a label to each piece. I'm using liquid varnish. My varnish is gloss and I would rather have a matte, but this is what I have, so use what you have. You don't need to glue the plants down first, as the varnish will glue them to the page. If you don't have varnish, you could use Mod Podge to adhere the plants to the page. Just get a nice coverage of medium down onto the page, add your plant material, and go over the plant with the varnish. I take my time getting them into the place I want them and making sure that the varnish covers them completely. This acts like a preservative also for the plant material. I can't wait to see what this looks like at the end of the year when I do a flip through of the whole year. I will keep doing this to all of the plant material I have picked out. The pansies, you can actually see through the petals and see the text under the petal. That's a nice effect. The hops are a little bulky and add some thickness to the page, but nothing too bad for the month. To get correct spelling, I would ask Google to tell me about the plant. Have you tried Google Lens to identify your plants? That was a great help. Also, as usual, the tags disappear or fade out by the end of the year, or when you want to be able to identify them for redividing them for giveaway. I wrote this down on a piece of paper, but I will rewrite them onto a piece of cardstock in a square that will fit between the plants. This way, I know that the plants were ID'd correctly and spelling was correct before I put them into the piece I was adding to my planner. I glue these down between the plants. I went over the tops of some and maybe a leaf, wrote some out on a piece of cardstock in a long rectangle versus a square. It just depends on where the nomenclature was going on the page. I made one journaling card with a heuchera leaf or coral bells with the same method. I used varnish to adhere the leaf to the cardstock. I chose a cardstock in a tan and inked the edges, which made it look vintage against the patina of the old textbook pages. I added the nomenclature to the tag first, but had to move it around to get the leaf to fit and still be able to read the nomenclature. If you have to move things around, be very careful, as the leaf is delicate and the nomenclature, after being covered with varnish, is very delicate. It may rip. My cover page, I used these flowers, which I don't remember what they are or where I got them, but look at the shape of this petal and tell me, how gorgeous is it? So, a good tip when drying your flowers and leaves, add the nomenclature onto the page of your composition book so you know what they are later when wanting to use them. I purchased a laminator last year and laminated several leaves, so what better way to use them into making a clear pocket for my planner? I cut this leaf into a square that would fit my page as a pocket. Use double-sided tape to adhere the pocket to the page on 3 sides, leaving the top open to add my tag when it's dry. If you don't have a laminator, you could put a leaf between 2 pieces of acetate. I have tried using the varnish between the acetate to adhere the 2 pieces of acetate together. You can get a few bubbles, and that's going to take some practice to get it just right, but it's another way to make laminating if you don't have a laminator. The varnish does need time to dry. I like to do this project of varnishing the plants and then letting them dry overnight. Depending on the thickness of the plant material, it may take longer. This piece of laminated leaves I can cut to make a belly band. That will work with just cutting a stem of one leaf only a little. I put the double-sided tape only on the top and bottom of laminated strip. I add the monthly step chart and habit tracker to the center of the pages and take the pieces to my sewing machine and sew down the center of the pages. I only sew in the center of the page a couple inches. I don't need to sew down the complete center. I also, before I sewed them into the book, sewed across the top and bottom of the habit tracker and step counter, which made 2 pockets to add more ephemera to my month when needed. Cut another piece of cardstock to make the June nomenclature for the cover page. I used the black fine line bottle that I've shown in a previous video to outline the word June. Glue this to the front cover when dry. I started the fine line bottle onto a scrap piece, but I left that on my desk and ended up putting the journal right on top of the wet paint. Now I have a black smear on the last page, but that is the charm of making these pages and learning what not to do. Now to add May to the overall journal we're working on for the year. Halfway done with the year and the pages are coming together. No page left blank and each month is totally different from the previous month. I'm liking this eclectic look. The elastic bands are easy to add each month to the spine and things are coming together. Have a great month and enjoy your garden this month as much as I am having tea on the back deck. See you next month. Bye now.